What's up, guys? BLU Studio 7.0 2 full review right now. Guys, let's waste no time and let's get right into this review. So on the front of the device, you're going to find yourself a 7-inch screen right here, which comes in at 170 pixels per inch or 1024 by 600. On the top of the device, you're going to find yourself a VGA camera right here, and you're going to find yourself a speaker grill as well. So going down to the bottom, you're going to find nothing here. It's just kind of blending in with the silver design on the front here. Going on to your right side, you're going to find yourself your power button and your volume rocker switch. Going on to the back, it just says Studio across the back, BLU logo, and a 5 megapixel rear camera, as you can see right there. It's kind of hard to see in the camera, but there you go. And right here is your SIM card slot, which you will need a little small flathead screwdriver to get into the SIM card slot. A little bit of a bummer, but it can be done. You can get these at, dollar stores or whatever. Going over to the top, you can see that we have our 3.5 millimeter headset jack, and we also have our micro USB port at the top as well. So that was the hardware tour of the BLU Studio 7.0 2. So in this section, we're going to talk about build quality, but what I want to mention also in the hardware is this is only a 3G or 4G HSPA plus device, so it's only going to give you 4G speeds, nothing like LTE, so just beware of that. And there is no flash on the camera as well that was omitted from the original BLU Studio 7.0, although that flash was very weak on the first generation. But how has the build quality been? And the first thing you're going to notice on the build is that it feels plastic, but it feels pretty nice. It doesn't feel too cheap. It doesn't feel like no premium device, but it feels like they didn't, just skimp on it either. Like they took a little bit of time to make sure that they have a decently quality device here. So not bad on the build quality. And you're going to notice that it's really light for its size. It feels like a 7-inch tablet, but much lighter than most 7-inch tablets on the market. And what you'll notice too is, of course, it's ginormous, but the width of the device, it's very wide, so be ready to wrap your hands around this baby, and it will fumble a little bit if you're trying to one-hand it, so just be aware of that. But overall, build quality pretty solid. Screen, I'm not sure if that's Gorilla Glass, I doubt it, so you might want to use the included screen protector BLU gives you in the box. But overall, pretty solid device, a little bit hollow from the back, no creaking though. I would say this is an improvement over the BLU Studio 7.0. So how is the screen on this device? And I can tell you guys that the screen on this device is pretty good actually, because even though it's a 1024 by 600 display, because you're so far away from the display, it looks better. And this is actually, I would say, a market improvement over the original one, just due to the fact that on this device, there's not as much color washing and shifting as you would see on the original BLU Studio 7.0. So actually this device has a really nice screen. It's not no HD quality, but trust me, at this size, you're not going to have any issues in terms of seeing it. I did notice one problem with my BLU Studio 7.0 2, and that is that it was screen bleeding around the top in the left corners pretty frequently, almost every night actually. When I'm in the bed watching movies, I see, and after a while of usage, it started bleeding from the sides. Once you turn it off and turn it back on, it goes away, but it comes back each time. So that might be a negative, but this may just be because I may have got a lemon screen. Who knows? But yeah, the screen overall is pretty good. One other thing I didn't like about the screen is that it doesn't have a huge range of brightness. So at night, you really need to get blue light filter or twilight or something that's going to reduce the strain on your eyes, because it does not, it gets very bright, but it doesn't get very low. So you can't knock the nits way down. So it's going to be glaring at you at nighttime. So that's the screen on the BLU Studio 7.0 2. All right, guys, so what about software? So if we hop over into settings, we're going to show you that we are running Android version 5.0 Lollipop. Now, the original 5.0 Lollipop. But as you can see, most phones are running Android Lollipop these days. But this one is running the 5.0, the first version. So this is kind of really far behind in terms of software. But the wireless update, I haven't got an update, at all on this phone. So BLU has been known not to be pushing out updates very frequently to the devices, so this might be a downfall. If you're worried so much about software being frequently updated, you're not going to get it here. But overall, the software performs pretty well, but we're gonna get more into that, how it performs in the real world usage. How has the camera been on the device? And I can tell you this is a major downfall of the device. I was going to include some pictures, but I might as well just show you them here right on the phone. I did take some pictures here on the device, and let me tell you, they're pretty bad overall. So as you can see, we were here at the auto show yesterday, did a video on that. Now, from camera, it may look okay, but the noise on these pictures is just horrendous. As you can see, I'm sure you can see how bad that really is. So this is probably one of the worst cameras that I've used on a smartphone like in a long time. The BLU Studio 7.0's camera was probably even worse, but this one is like only like a step above it. I mean, the camera quality on the front is like what you would have got on a Motorola Razr or something, as you can see. My face just looks so distorted in digital noise, almost like we're in the Matrix or something. So let's go into another photo. This one pulled in a little bit better light, but overall, it's not a beautiful camera. And I know it's subjective, it's an opinion, but I think most people's opinion is going to be that they're not very happy with this camera. So how has battery life been on the device? And I can tell you that this battery on this device, even though although it says it comes with a 3450 milliamp hour battery, don't believe the specs too much, because in my real world usage case, I haven't been getting the kind of battery that I would expect at that kind of size. More in line with something like maybe, you know, a typical flagship, right around 4 hours on screen time, 10 hours throughout the day. And as you can see, here's some of my results. I got 2 hours 19, had 48% at 9:37 p.m. 3 hours 33 minutes, 46 seconds at 10:33 p.m. So as you can see, you're gonna get 2.5 to 4.5 hours on screen time, depending on how you're using it. It's not the best battery life in the world. And it doesn't charge the quickest either. It's going to take a couple hours to charge this baby up. So no quick charge here either. But overall, the battery life, I would say if you're not pounding the phone, can get you through a full day. If you're pounding the phone, probably half the day. But overall, not the most impressive for considering the screen being such a low resolution and such a big battery. It's not the most impressive. So I think BLU needs to work on getting their battery up to par, especially if they're going to put these lower resolution screens in there, because something like the ZTE Z Max 2 has a 720p screen, and that thing can just last all day. This one, not so much. But battery life overall, I would say acceptable, just not going to exceed expectations. All right, guys, what about the sound? So let's just go into a YouTube video real quick. I'll just play one of mine, and just so we don't get no copyright trouble, and basically just see how it sounds. The speaker is not the best on here. It's a little bit tinny. That's one thing, they have to cut corners. But let's go to this iOS video.
Hey guys, this is Nick here from Everything Tech, and welcome to this episode of the iPhone 4S versus the iPhone 5S iOS.
And that should be enough to see that it is just a little bit tinny, not the best in the world. Although, like I say, this phone was only 109 or 119 bucks on Amazon, so it's not going to, you know, it's not a deal breaker, trust me. Not having the loudest speaker in the world is not a deal breaker. It doesn't sound crappy, it's just not the loudest. And it is nice that it is at least firing from the front and not from the back or from the sides. From the front is the best, although I think they could have included, you know, a speaker grill right here, but that's just being picky. But yeah, that's the sound quality on the BLU Studio 7.02.
So you guys might be wondering, how does this BLU Studio fit in your pockets, or, you know, how big does it really stick out? And I'm just going to show you that here in this pocket test. So as you can see, I got, you know, regular dude size jeans, 32 by 34. Regular is an opinion just because that's what I wear, but let's see how it fits in there. As you can see, it does stick out just a little bit. Let me bring the camera down a little bit. It does stick out just a little bit right here. You can see the camera coming out. So if you have girls' jeans, this is going to be quite a stretch for you. It probably won't even fit. You might have to throw it in your purse. Let's go over to the back side and see how that turns out. So as you can see in your back pocket where you put your wallet, it's going to stick out even more right there. So that's quite a big bulge there. So yeah, this is not going to be your typical, you know, let me put it in my pocket and go to the gym phone. This is going to be something you might want to throw in your bag, your purse, or whatever you have. Also, when you're driving, do not try to text with this phone because you will fumble it. Probably one of the hardest phones to text and drive. So don't do that either. And if you decide to do that and you get in an accident, I warned you.
So what has my real world use been like, guys? And this is one of my favorite sections where I get to just basically talk about whatever I want about how the device performs. And basically I can tell you that the device overall, surprisingly, even though it has 1 GB of RAM, the software experience on this device is very enjoyable. It's quick, it's speedy. I don't know what BLU does to their launcher, but out the box, their launcher is like Nova Launcher Quick. So their launcher is pretty solid right out of the box. You might not even want to install any launcher. And although it is running a MediaTek processor, MT830, whatever, who cares? This thing has a Mali 400 GPU. And I found that games perform okay. Apps, sometimes you got to click them twice, but overall the software experience is just, it's pretty smooth. And I'm actually not disappointed with it. It's very enjoyable. So if you're buying this phone just to, you know, use it for its tablet functions and its big screen, you're going to be very happy. But if you're buying it for a camera, you're not going to be happy. But the software overall performs pretty well. You probably wouldn't even notice that there's not 2 GB of RAM in here, to be honest. And it's probably because of the lower resolution screen it's able to perform well. I'm sure if it had a bigger resolution screen, it would just not perform this well. But even if you knock the developer options down to 0.5 animations, it would be great. So overall, my real world use case would be that it performs well. I'm fine and happy with the way it performs. I'm not so happy with the screen, you know, bleeding on the sides and the battery life not getting me as long as I would expect at the 3450. But this is why we shouldn't expect things. We should just, you know, check them out first, and then we should judge from there. But overall, I would say pretty enjoyable phone here. Just not going to be a flagship experience in my real world use. So how has the call quality been on this device, guys? And I can tell you that the call quality on this device has been pretty solid. The speaker sounds okay, not going to blow your socks away. It's about, you know, maybe like a 7 out of 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. The only thing is that if you have a small head or a small face, the reach from here to here is pretty big. So just be aware of that. You may need to get a Bluetooth headset or a 3.5mm headset phone jack here to, you know, talk through an earpiece if you have a smaller face, because this reach is ridiculously big. So basically, yeah, call quality is mediocre. It's average, not going to, you know, amaze anybody, but it's also not going to piss anybody off either. And one great thing though is that BLU's signals seem to be holding on very strongly. So their Wi-Fi reception and their call reception is typically 4 to 5 bars everywhere for me. So I like what radio reception chips they're putting in here. I don't know if that's what they call them, but whatever they're doing there, good job there, because it is holding on to reception pretty strongly. So that's the call quality on the BLU Studio 7.0 too. My overall impressions of the BLU Studio 7.0 and they're going to be similar to the BLU Studio 7.0. If you're a person who wants a phone and a tablet all in one, albeit a smaller tablet, and a true phablet, meaning a true phone tablet, like, you know, big old phone to your ear style, not these little 5.5 inch, okay, these are pretty big phones. This is like a true tablet with a phone in it. So if you want both of those in one, this is going to be your phone. If you can live with its non-flagship specs. If you're somebody who wants a flagship, you know, 7-inch phone, this is not going to cut it for you. It just doesn't have flagship specs. This is more like a budget tablet with a phone in it. So if you're that person, this is not going to cut it for you. But if you're somebody who just wants an amazing, you know, affordable value tablet that can live without 4G LTE, can live without the greatest screen in the world, but wants a decent design, which it has, doesn't need the camera on the phone really at all, because it's Motorola Razr quality, then this should be the phone for you. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much it here on the BLU Studio 7.0. If you found this video valuable or helpful, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up down below. And subscribe for more videos here on Everything Tech. We're going to keep them coming. And thank you for watching. Be well and peace.